Is it? No more avoiding. Hey, weirdos. Let's try that again. I need something to hold my hand. Okay. Yeah. No. I'm just being myself. I'm gonna have my cards near me, just in case I don't travel without it. So would I do this without it? Okay. And the mantra arrives. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. You are now tuning in.
This is Pop Mystic, and I'm your host, Isla.
Hey, weirdos. Why do I sound international? That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, and let's see if I can stop looking at myself in this episode and I can work on looking into your eyes. Welcome to the intro episode of Pop Mystic. This is episode 0, technically. And by the way, there's a first prize for the first prize. There's a prize for the first person who guesses where the reference of Hey Weirdos comes from. Anyway, I always knew that I was going to make it onto people's screens. I just thought that they would be a director and a producer and a whole crew and a cast around me, and that I would be telling other people's stories. I would be stepping into other people's identities. Yes, I am talking about acting. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a Hollywood star. I wanted to be a famous triple threat. Essentially, that's what I wanted. But not like I wanted to be a singer, an actor, and then a dancer. I love to dance, but I wanted the triple to be more like singer, actor, activist, or philanthropist. I know. I know. Who dreams like that? I do. I did. That was like a very clear vision I had by the time I was in primary school, at least. And look, we'll get into that dream in another episode. There's going to be many an origin story. My lore is there's a reason why I have the audacity to start my own podcast. I mean, this is the second round of Pop Mystics. This is Pop Mystic 2.0, essentially. So, hello, if you've been around since when it was just an audio, when I somehow just made it through doing like a season and a half or something. No, I did 2 seasons and then I just flopped after like one episode of season 3 because I needed to do video then because of the algorithms of it all. But I just wasn't ready. I didn't have the capacity for it. And so I think it's been 2 years since I flopped in that one episode in this very room. And I think it created a negative anchor around creating this room. So, one episode of the prequel that I haven't released yet, which I don't know, maybe I have by the time I've released this intro episode, but if you haven't seen it yet, is in me setting up this physical space because I needed a spatial anchor. If we're going to talk NLP, if we're going to talk psychology, I should also put my phone on silent. Do not disturb. I'm recording a podcast. I'm recording my show. What was I talking about? I'm gonna get back into the channel. Yes, I needed a spatial anchor. Spatial anchor. Well, anchors are physical reminders, physical, you could call it amulets, physical objects that is imbued essentially with an intention, an energy that you can experience when you hold that thing. Like, for example, I'm holding, just like looking at myself in the screen. But you know what? I'm very happy to also be seeing what I'm seeing in the screen because I am being myself. So, anyway, so many side notes. Yeah, there's probably like suspicions of undiagnosed some things that people have in their minds at this point. You're probably correct. Oh my gosh, I just keep distracting myself. I am a bit nervous because this means so much to me and I want to do a good job, but also a part of the pattern that I have learnt from in the time that ever since I started this pop mystic project, which was 2021, late 2021, I started the first season of Pop Mystic, was to show up as myself, which is imperfect, which is in a work in progress, which is why I'm also in my nightgown, which I've had since I was like 14 or something, and then in my comfy stretchy dress. I've got not matching socks, you know? I'm just showing up. I mean, I've got a little bit of makeup on. I've got mascara and a little cheek, and then a little balm. And then I thought if I'm just gonna do a bit of that, like why not put some earrings in? But this is who I am. That's how my brain worked. So that's how I'm showing up. But in a space that's actually not, I should stop moving as much. The camera is freaking out. Oh my God, my internal dialogues are all coming out. Essentially, what I was trying to say is anchors are things, or, even you can have anchors on your bodies, like physical places. I mean, if we have like parts of our bodies that feel like triggers, we can also use that mechanism for productive or positive reasons, aka that becomes an anchor. The flip side of an anchor is a trigger. So when I recorded that one episode of season 3, trying to make it work with video and what I had, which like this furniture was not here. I didn't have a lava lamp. I didn't have any of my art up. And so it was a completely different vibe, but I tried to make it work. And I just, like I said, I didn't have the capacity for it. And I ended up creating something that I wasn't really proud of. And that created this negative association, which made this space a spatial anchor or a spatial trigger. And so it was really important for me to get the space right, but it's not fully there yet. And I had been letting that be an excuse to not record any episodes of Pop Mystic, even though I have been teasing it since like 6 months ago that I was gonna do this again. My original deadline was in February. I think I talked about it in the prequel, but it's been 4 months now, and it's time for me to begin. But it isn't necessarily the first beginning. This is not the first introduction of this podcast. As I said, the first iteration of Pop Mystic started back in 2021. I think it was during maybe a lockdown of the pandemic. And so, yeah, this episode is a reintroduction. So, welcome back to Pop Mystic. It's nice to see you again. And if this is your first time being here, welcome to this rebirthed version of Pop Mystic. And this is episode 0, and it's intentionally episode 0 because it is just an introduction. And it is episode 0 because I guess the story of the Fool, which is the story of the major arcana in the Tower, that starts at 0. The story of the Fool doesn't start with 1. He starts at this, well, not necessarily nothingness, because at the end of an ending, there's usually a beginning. And at the beginning of a beginning, there's usually an ending, right? In the beginning, we think of the end. In the end, we think of the beginning. It's like this very popular concept, and it's even in like storytelling frameworks, right? And the tarot is, I guess, one of my oldest friends, my oldest tools of trade. But before that, it's been my mirror, my therapist, my portal to a level of consciousness beyond this thinking self, beyond my own ego or anxiety or my past experiences or even the noise from being on planet Earth. And so, yeah, this is new, but not just new, it's also old. It's not a new idea or a new project. It's also made of many ancient concepts, and it's an attempt, my own humble attempt in, I guess, channeling ancient wisdom through this brain, this mind, this existence. I'm just a girl who grew up with computers, you know? And yet I am so guided by something beyond technology, something older, something ancient. And my intuition personally feels like there's a lot of answers there. I'm just a weird girl that I guess yeah, I believe beyond what we can see or what we can touch. I believe that there are stories that have been hidden from us. There are stories that have been thrown in the fire, that have been snuffed out violently. And I also believe that we each are carrying stories beyond our own, our ancestors, I don't know, the people that we care about, our community, our country, our society, whatever according to our religion or our political system. Yeah, I have this curiosity towards how ancient wisdom, which is part of all of our stories, expresses itself. This podcast initially started as an idea for a 5 essay series. That's all it was going to be. I had these 5 different ideas, 5 different topics that all kind of were intersections of reality TV or pop culture and mysticism, and I suppose in more modern terms, self-awareness and self-actualization, self-identity. So it was going to be these 5 different essays, which I will be speaking about all 5 of those topics throughout when it comes along. I will let you know when I'm talking about one of the original 5, the sacred 5 texts that began pop mysticism. I'm not trying to like start a cult or like a movement, although like it might seem a little bit like it if people have certain perspectives around the topics that I talk about. Recently, Pia the Fairy, who is an incredible creator. I think they go by Realizations by Pia on Instagram. So Pia, that's their name. They said something about how skepticism is a part of their spirituality. And a few days before I saw that on Instagram, I had written on my notes that I am spiritual because I am skeptical. Let's see if I can find a quick smart. Yeah, let me see. I am spiritual because I am skeptical. That's all I wrote on the 3rd of June at 10 past 6. And yeah, I suppose it's my own way of understanding spirituality is through observing how it's actually worked for us and how it's evolved us or devolved us if we look at it from certain different perspectives. So different people have different perspectives. I understand that. And I think I was saying that I have the audacity to share these ideas because my life, my existence is, in fact, a prime example of how spirituality, spirits, how realms, energies, potentially beings. Like I don't have concrete evidence that I can present to you. So a part of the skeptic part of me, I have a hard time just saying it's all spirits or it's just all energy or it's whatever. I'm a little bit greed. I'm a maximalist. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this. All of this. It's maximalism. And have you seen like spirituality in general? It's like very I mean, have you seen the Pope? Have you seen what he wears? That's very maximal. And so I'm a maximalist. You know those people that's like baptize their children just in case there is a heaven and a hell and a pearly gates and a secchi guard. That's a very Aussie thing to say. A security guard waiting just in case, you know. I'm a little bit like that in the way that I until I am certain and I have, yeah, there is a part of me that wants to really fully have a certainty. I'm yet to be able to name them. I believe in the spirits and the ghosts and the aliens and the fairies and the dragons. I have this audacity to talk and share about my perspectives on these things because, yeah, my life is a living, breathing proof. My existence is a living, breathing proof that whatever you would like to call them, ghosts, spirits, energies, all of the above, angels, they do, they are about. And yet it's not necessarily about them, it's actually about each and every one of us that are currently here and we can see and touch, even though it is also important to remember that the world is it's so abstract and meta, and that's why I need a whole podcast to sort of like process through this publicly. And the reason why I'm doing it, I mean, I could do it on my own. I do it on my own, clearly. Like, otherwise, I wouldn't have had these ideas. But I'm called to do it publicly because, well, because what I've been guided to do by these unseen, untouchable, although you can feel them, absolutely. You can feel spirits, you can feel your energy, you can feel your ancestors if you really let yourself, because they're in your blood. You can feel your ancestors anytime. And it's 333 right now. So that must mean Oji-chan is definitely here. Arigato. That's my grandpa. He was a Leo, so, and I'm a Leo rising. But as I was saying, we can, it's not, it's actually not that serious. I might get in trouble for saying that. It's actually not that serious when it comes to like getting in touch with your spirituality, your inner psychicness. Our ancestors did that all the time. All the time. If you go to nature, you feel different. You feel a type of way. You feel the air is different. And that's, yeah, sure, we can talk about air quality, whatnot, but it does something different to you, doesn't it? And that too, like that's magic. It's semantics in a way. It's all semantics. You can just call it a chemical reaction. But like, what's stopping you from calling chemical reactions magic? Like, isn't it magical that it can do that? Two things, multiple things can combine and become something else. Depending on different combinations, the results may alter. To me, I mean, alchemy, that's magic. Science began as man, and I say man. Science began as a way for man to understand magic, to literally bottle it, right? To try to bottle, what is it, lightning in a bottle situation. And so, yeah, it's really hard for me to not do this, actually. Even though I have let noise stop me from doing this for months and really years since trying to do the video season from season 3. So I've decided to start from scratch. I got rid of all of my past episodes. They're gone. I can't even access them at this point because the file corrupted in the backing up. It was like a sign. It wasn't even Mercury retrograde, by the way. So like I wasn't even like asking for that to happen. So anyway, I decided to just begin again afresh because I know better now. I'm smarter than I was in 2021. It's been 5 years, you'd hope so. I'm in my 30s now and yeah, as I was saying, I decided to start the season with an episode 0 because the Fool's Journey, the major arcana, starts with a 0, and I am going in not as a fool, but in the Fool card is about being ready to be the fool, to be so curious and ready to start on a new path that you can leave everything behind. You know, other people may call you a fool for doing something, but I don't care. I don't care. This is who I am. Like I said, I always knew I was going to be on a screen. I didn't think I would be in my 30s producing and like doing my own show. I really did think that I was going to be an actor. And if I was to have my own talk show, obviously I would have a producer and a director and like a writing team. But turns out, I am all of the above. Tick, 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 tick. I mean, I am so open. I'm so open to having sponsors. I'm so open to having a producer. I'm so open to having a manager. So if you'd like to get involved in an independent podcast project, which it'd be great if we can grow it into a network or something one day. I already have the channel name, which is called the Practical Magic Channel, and it's going to be a pop, mystic, and cultural lifestyle channel, you know, like fuck Goop and Gwyneth Paltrow and her, yeah, her genocidal friends. Sorry, not sorry. Support me and my media empire, fempire. No, I'm not interested in having an empire at all, at all. Yeah, I would love because I'm called to be a star, because I'm called to stand in front of a camera, but I also know that there are people that are called to direct, to write, to produce, to fundraise, to manage, to edit. Oh, that would be good if I had a sweet ass editor. Um, to even film, because I'm literally using like $100. Well, I think it was like originally $140, but I got it for a deal. Webcam. And that's me, that iMovie, baby CapCut. Oh, baby CapCut, Descript for the audio ones. And Against the World. That's my production team at the moment. It's me, myself, and I, and a variety of products that fit within my budget that I've been slowly collecting over these years. There are a few key things in my life that supported me since my teens. One of the things is journaling, my intuition, my tarot cards, and, well, reality TV. And that's kind of where the original inspiration came from, as far as this becoming a podcast rather than just remaining a 5 essay series. When I was starting to write these, or maybe it was the first time I was watching The Real Housewives of New York City, and I was quite, at that point, not so much anymore, but at that point I was quite taken with Bethany Frankel. She's quite the businesswoman. She's quite the capitalist. Let's be honest, she's quite the capitalist. That's what she is. Although at that point, I wasn't really think about it that way. She is a really good marketer and a promoter, and she's a fantastic reality TV star. She knows what she's doing. Like I think my favorite reality TV stars that I come across are the ones that are actually really calculated behind the scenes. So she already knew how to strategize, and so she did. And that's kind of what was, I guess, what made me really like Bethany. And when I had written these essays, at the back of my mind, I had a Bethany Frankel at the back of my mind. I think actually this was when Bethany Frankel, she did one season, just one season, in which it was like The Apprentice, but it was for somebody to end up working for Bethany Frankel as like her head of marketing or something like that. And it was really great in the way that each week they were challenged to make something happen marketing wise or business development wise. So yeah, I had this little Bethany Frankel at the back of my mind being like, why are you just keeping yourself small, and you're just gonna do these 5 essays for what? Like, what is it gonna do? Like, she was really like very, you know what Bethany Frankel's like. So she kind of, in my mind, like berated me in it's exactly how she questioned Erica Jane when there was a crossover episode. I think it was on Beverly Hills. I think Bethany went on Beverly Hills, and she ended up questioning Erica about her career. What's your marketing? What's your strategy? Da 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 da. And so basically, my inner Bethany Frankel did exactly that, and sort of got me to realizing that I was keeping myself small by just writing these essays, that I actually wanted to say more than just what I said in those essays as well. And really interesting, a few years later, like I'm exploring different things about my astrology, and Taylor's telling me that the Gemini is in my past, and I'm moving on from simply just being a communicator. Like it's time for me to sort of really show up and go beyond just, yeah, simple communication to she basically gave me permission to communicate myself through everything, not just through words and what is typical communication. And anyway, that's really interesting because my mother is a writer. So writing is my mother's gift. And so that's aligning that should be in my past. I am technically, we are all supposed to be an improvement upon our parents' design, right? So yeah, quite interesting that my psyche just did this weird Bethany Frankel intervention of like, hey, let's leave writing behind. You wanted to be, well, at that point, I wasn't ready to be on a screen. I was on social media, but like I wasn't ready to do a video podcast or a YouTube channel. Like that wasn't in my mind. But I was ready to use my voice, because that's also another thing that's been a common pattern in my life, where whenever I have spoken to psychics or I've had sort of spiritual mentors, they always come back to telling me, like, you need to use your voice. When you use your voice, things happen for you. And that's true. That's true. Like when I sing, when I do speaking, which is what I do when I teach, like the way that I seem to make money. Also, I have done social media and I think I create really beautiful content on social media, but that's not how I meet my clients or make my money. It's generally, I would say 90% of the time, the people that I meet and I get to work with are through word of mouth. So using my voice is this powerful thing. And so I was ready to do that, to use my voice. And that's how I did the initial first couple of seasons of Pop Mystic, is that's how I started. I had this inner Bethany Frankel, and I had enough learning and mentorship to know that using my voice was the right choice for me. It's funny because I'm somebody who is very spiritual, yet it always surprises people how much I know about pop culture or reality TV. And the thing I have to say about that is, and I'm sure like many people have seen that meme going around being like, smart, emotionally intelligent people tend to watch reality TV to decompress. Look it up. It's definitely there. There's a few different variations of it, and I agree with all of them. But the thing I feel about reality TV, and I've had many epiphanies watching reality TV, by the way, and that is that, yes, reality TV is scripted and it's dramatized, but honestly, so is real life, or so can be real life. Our real life is scripted if you are not intentional and consciously making choices in your life. Our life is scripted by the capital, the empire, the system, the government that is ruling our day-to-day lives. Or we can also choose to script the future we want through journaling, through visualization, through literally making choices that's based on a story that you want to live out in real life. And I don't know about your corner of the universe or the multiverse, but my corner of the universe or the multiverse, my friends, I don't know. Many of us are drama kids, but as in like we were theater kids, but my life is pretty dramatic. People in my life are pretty dramatic and cinematic. That's the better word for it. My world is cinematic. And as far as I know, a lot of corners, at least in Sydney, are cinematic. And it feels, given this day and age, I feel like the world, well, we're going to talk about this in another episode about the role of Hollywood and the state of the world. But yeah, let's just say for now, the world is cinematic. I'd also could say entertaining or that I like to romanticize my life, but I'm obsessed with words, language, symbols, means of expressions, and how we can use or how we can let our intuition guide our expressions. Maybe because my English is a second language, maybe because I speak two different languages, but I'm obsessed with words, right? So etymology matters to me a lot. I am very intentional with the words that I choose to speak. I believe that words are spells and sometimes words are masks. Anyway, so the etymology of the word entertainment is to hold one's attention or to keep somebody in a certain state. And isn't it interesting that that's the word that we choose to use to describe, yeah, Hollywood, social media, podcast, yeah, media in general, influencers, these are all considered to be entertaining. It's considered to keep us in a state. It holds our attention. Media is a medium to transmitting something, transmitting a message. So the whole big entertainment, big media that we are inundated by, literally inundated by. Did you know that you scroll like 140 meters a day on average? And you are inundated by media when you're doing that, right? Like, isn't it interesting that yeah, the concept of entertainment is about holding our attention, and media quite often holds our attention with an agenda, with a purpose for consumption, to say the very least, to be productive, to subliminally or even blatantly inseminate us with certain romances about life on planet Earth, about ourselves. And the word romance obviously comes from Rome, or it's in reference to Rome or the Roman Empire in a positive light. That what a wonderful time it was when Rome was roaming. Rome wasn't built in a day. No, Rome was built on the backs of many slaves. Rome was built on stealing cultures and shutting down ancient spirituality and women's rights. Just slowly, slowly drip feeding. It's literally one of the first. I'm not going to go into this rant because I have a whole episode that I want to do about my own Roman Empire, if you remember that trend. My Roman Empire is the Roman Empire. But anyway, it's been one of the biggest bamboozles. And so I don't align with the word romantic so much because I am not so much of a fan of ancient Rome personally. So that's why I say cinematic. Yeah, life is cinematic. And whether it's on reality TV or it's in my corner of Sydney, yeah, it's up to you to really live it. If you find life boring, and this is a quote from Mad Men, only boring people are boring, as Betty says. So this is my invitation to you, to anyone, to firstly, enter my cinematic multiverse. It's cinematic but very real. And that's literally why pop mystics exists. It's words carry story, our stories carry belief, our beliefs shape our behavior, and our behaviors shape our culture, and our culture shapes our reality and how we experience it and how we do the give and take dance. Yeah, and ultimately, stories are how we've survived. It's how our ancestors have got us along to this point here where I'm creating this from, on the unceded Aboriginal lands, the lands of the Gadigal people. There's been 60,000 years of storytelling that has brought the Aboriginal people to this point to survive through a genocide, through what they have survived and continue to survive through systemic means of oppression and continued colonization and violence. The stories of our ancestors, gossip that we hear that protects women. If you haven't read The Women Who Run with the Wolves, there is a story in there about the role of gossip. And if you look into even like different tribal cultures in across Africa, in ancient Japan, Jomon people, there was a role in women's gossip, or the gossip of the feminine, the whispers of the feminine. The stories, whether it's cultural, it's personal, relational, political, societal, stories guide us, it navigates us, and it can control us. Even our personal stories, our personal narratives can control us. But pop mystic, this is where spirituality, reality, culture, creativity, mysticism, media, pop psychology, all of those things can sort of come to the table and exist and be discussed because they're all connected. And I guess this is my attempt on proving that it's all connected, that we are all connected in some way, shape, or form, including our struggles and our joys and in our futures. Anyway, That's it from me for this intro episode. Welcome to Pop Mystic again, and I can't wait to see you in episode 1. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. Mwah. I should test the mic, but I think it's okay. I feel like a rookie going into the mic. I don't know if it's doing anything different.